Hey, Walt here from StogieReview.com with another video cigar review. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, unfortunately, and I'm finding that the only way I can really get them done is if I do reviews in between things. And since I'm running some errands after work here on a Friday afternoon, I thought I would try to kill two birds with one stone, do a little running around, and talk about a cigar that I picked up at IPCPR. Now, this particular cigar is the Merlion by La Serena. It's a funky size that isn't standard production. I believe this is one of Ariel's favorite sizes, or is her favorite size. I don't remember exactly what she said, but this particular cigar was produced for her, and she had a bundle stashed away underneath one of the display cabinets, and after being pressed, she was able to produce one for Brian and I to fight over. Fortunately, I was able to leave Orlando with the funky little Figurado Perfecto Merlion cigar from IPCPR. So the cigar itself, I wanted to. There's a few things I wanted to talk about along the way, just general discussion topics about the stick and how, my past experiences with the line. But before we get into that, let's talk about this particular cigar. It's really difficult for me to drive and point and show you things on the cigar, so you'll just have to take my word for it. First things first, this cigar is kind of small. It's very feminine. It feels very feminine. It's got a perfecto shape that's similar to one of the smaller Oliva Serie V Figurado sizes. I don't remember which number it was, but if you remember a little while back, there was a sample box that had different size V Figurados in it. The smaller of the sizes is kind of what this feels like, only it's a bit more feminine with a really long, drawn-out, tight torpedo shape at the end. There's what looks like an additional piece of wrapper added to the foot where the foot tapers down. It looks like they applied a second piece of wrapper leaf. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know whether it's aesthetics or what the real intent was there. It blends in really well, so you kind of have to look for it to see it. So I don't know that it was really a cosmetic thing. I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that piece of wrapper leaf serves, unless it's just to kind of keep the foot compressed. I really don't know. The color is kind of light. It's like a creamed coffee. The veins are really dainty and thin. All in all, it looks like a really nice cigar. The band is kind of loose on it. I've had it almost slide off twice on me now, which is a good sign. I love it when the band doesn't stick to the wrapper. It reduces the potential of wrapper sticking to the band and tearing and causing problems later on down the line. The pre-light draw was a little on the sweet side, and it was much looser than I anticipated. So, prior to lighting the cigar, everything was looking pretty good. Construction seemed very nice. The pre-light draw was smooth, getting plenty of airflow through it. And, it had a nice little bit of a sweetness to it in that pre-light flavor. Now, I'm having a little bit of trouble keeping it lit. I've had to touch it up twice now. So bear with me as I root around for a throwaway lighter that I keep in the car. My first impressions on the smoke. It was surprisingly powerful. It gave me a nice spicy punch through the sinus. I like that. It's got a bit of a creamy finish to it. Initially it was kind of dry, but it's starting to, cream up a little bit, if that kind of makes any sense. And I'm not really able to pull out any distinct flavors at this point. I mean, aside from a little bit of a pepper flavor across the broad part of the tongue, and a little bit of a saltiness that makes you salivate. I'm struggling to pick out definitive flavors. I'm sure we can build on that later on as we move along, but so far it's off to a really nice start. Well, I suppose my background with La Serena starts arguably before the brand existed. I guess it was about 5 years ago. I attended my first IPCPR trade show in Las Vegas, And while we were touring the showroom floor and things, Brian and I stopped at the Old School Cigars booth, which I think is Ariel, the brand manager for La Serena. I think it's her father or something. We got to talking to her way back when about the Old School cigar. There really wasn't a whole lot behind that discussion. It was just kind of in passing. And I don't remember whether or not she was working for Miami Cigar the year after, or it was the year after that. But 2 years later, when we attended the IPCPR trade show in New Orleans for the second year in a row, we were doing this big Twitter Brother of the Leaf cocktail hour big event with press kits, and we were collecting cigars, putting together press bags and things like that. And as we were collecting cigars from the Miami cigar booth, Jason Wood handed us some additional cigars, and he told us that Ariel was the brand manager of this new brand coming out. We're calling it La Serena. It was unbanded stuff. There was a disproportional number of cigars to informational cards, and because we didn't want to confuse everyone by putting unbanded, cigars with no information on them whatsoever into bags, only some of the cigars were given away. We kind of stuck the other ones off to the side, and I believe we each wound up with like 3 of these cigars to take home as a result of having no information to hand out to in those press kits. But we took those cigars. We learned that they were made by My Father Cigar, Don Pepin Garcia, and at that time I was really excited to try this brand new cigar by Don Pepin. It's got to be awesome. So I tried the cigar for the first time, and it was terrible. I really didn't like it at all. It burned well, construction was good, but the flavor profile was really terrible. I didn't like it. Not to say it was, it was a terrible cigar. I just did not like it one bit. And, it was one of those things where the cigar came out, and I just assumed, okay, when it's released, it's probably going to be different, because a lot of times things change with these pre-release samples, and on top of that, it's an IPCPR sample, so you've got, double the potential for things to change somewhere along the way. And, I went home from the trade show. I tried smoking the other 2 samples, and both of them did absolutely nothing for me. I wound up quitting on them early. And I guess a couple of months later, Miami Cigar sent out samples of this new line, and as soon as I laid eyes on it, I disliked the cigar. I already had this preconceived notion in my head that it wasn't going to taste very good, because leading up to this, I just hadn't liked them, and now it had this obnoxiously large band on it that covered probably 75% of the cigar. It was explained to me later on that was a mistake. They really weren't supposed to be that big. Whatever the case was, it was just obnoxious. I really didn't like it. And I sort of wrote off the brand because I really didn't like the samples. The flavor had changed, but it didn't change enough to compel me to go out and spend money on them. So to this day, I have not bought a La Serena cigar. I've been handed a couple by Miami Cigar reps, and while they're certainly smokable and they're okay, it's just not something I like enough to go out and buy. So based on that opinion of the La Serena line, the stuff I've had in the past, I really wasn't sure what to think about this new Merlion cigar. I didn't really feel compelled to run out and buy one. When I heard about it, I thought it was kind of interesting, but again, based on previous experience, I didn't want to run out and buy one. For one, they're not very easy to find in my area, and 2, if I have to put an order in somewhere and order cigars, a lot of times I want them to be something I'm going to be enjoying. I save experimental stuff for when I can go out and I can buy 1 or 2 at a cigar shop. So that's kind of where I'm at with, I'm getting to my destination. That's why I'm trying to skip ahead quickly. But that's kind of where I am with the whole feel and, previous experience with the La Serena line. So going into this, I didn't have great, I didn't really have high hopes for it, but it's much better than that original La Serena, and I'm enjoying the cigar, a good amount. At this point, I'm still struggling with keeping it lit. I don't know that I'd run out and buy one, but there's still a lot of cigar left, and things could change dramatically. It's kind of annoying that I have to keep reaching for the lighter and relighting it, but I don't know whether that has anything to do with the the smaller size and shape, or if it's just indicative of the line itself. But I'm here at the post office. I have to drop a package off. Once I do that, start the camera back up and talk a little bit more. Well, I've taken the band off of my La Serena Merlion, or Merlion, I'm still not quite sure how to pronounce it, and I don't even think the interview that we did with Ariel at IPCPR nailed down the proper answer. But all in all, the cigar is going pretty well. It's exceeded my expectations. I really didn't set the bar too high after my previous experience with La Serena product. While it did perform well, and it produced a good volume of smoke and things like that, the flavor profile just didn't win me over. So I really didn't set the bar too high for the Merlion. I'm pleasantly surprised. I like it considerably. The flavor profile is made up of, it's got a sort of a deep earthy core. It makes me think of hay and like a smoky sort of wood taste. The lighter flavors, or the finer flavors or nuances, however you want to describe it, is along the lines of spice and pepper. It's a nice little zing across the tongue. You feel more of a press across the sinus from the spicy component, and I kind of like it. I really wish the burn were better, and I didn't have to touch it up so frequently. It does make me curious what the larger formats will be like, though. Since this is the one and only that I've had, I really can't judge this particular size on the rest of the line. Usually, you try different sizes, and then you get that one limited edition size or that one small size, and you can pick out what makes it different than the rest. Since I haven't had the rest, I don't know how this how this stands up to the other sizes. I'm really curious to try a Robusto format. I think it will be less sharp. Even though I kind of like the sharpness, I'm intrigued by the larger format, Robusto size as compared to this little Figurado. Aside from that, I really enjoyed it. It's been a little bit of a struggle with the burn. However, it is kind of changing my outlook on the La Serena line. I'm finding that I'm enjoying this, and I'm willing to go out and purchase some larger sizes to see how they compare. I'm kind of looking forward to giving this particular line a couple of more tries. Not so much with the base La Serena line, but this one is winning me over. It's a little frustrating with the burn. I'm kind of sounding like a broken record there, but it is kind of annoying. But I'm liking the cigar as a whole. So if you'd like to learn more about this cigar, you can check out Brian Hewitt's review. I think he reviewed either the Toro or the Robusto. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to put a link in the review post. And you can also check out the interview that we did at IPCPR with Ariel, in which she talks about this particular size. Wow. At any rate, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.